Testing 1 2 3 3 2 1. Testing. Testing 1 2 3. Say hello, Stanley. Hello, Stanley. Well, look who's here. Come on in. Welcome to my wheelhouse, so to speak. Anyways, it's been a few weeks since our last update, so I thought I'd give you another one. We're getting very close to the end here. Pretty soon the weather will be closing us out for any epoxy work. That's all done for now. It's all put away. And I'm going to try and do some woodwork and work on my helm console. And once that's done, we'll see what the weather holds for us. It's supposed to be a slightly milder but wetter winter, so I don't know what that means. Probably freezing rain, hail, sleet, all the really good stuff. So anyways, it's been busy. I got a whole list of stuff to go over here, so I'll try not to rattle on too long. Coffee. I want to thank you for coming back, and we've got a few new subscribers, which is cool. We're up to 625, which is good. We're getting there slowly and surely, and we'll just keep plugging away at it. And yeah, that's all good. It seems to be better since I only started doing videos like once a month, and they're just these recap things of what we've done. So anyways, before I rattle on too much longer, let's get into it. Shit. Can't read it. Need my glasses. So when we left off the last time, I was working on the main cockpit hardtop and the cockpit hardtop extension, and that was all taped and glassed. And we'll throw up a few pictures here somewhere. Oh yeah, this is my buddy Stanley. He keeps me warm when it's cool. It's about 5°C outside right now, and it's a nice comfortable 15 in here. So in moderate weather, he's okay. He can handle it. He's a good guy. Say hello to Stanley. Stanley, say hello to everybody. Cool. Okay, yeah, so taped and sanded. I had to fair the tape joints a little bit. I try and sand the back and feather them out, but they were standing proud a little bit, so it's only 1/4" plywood. I didn't bother to try and dish out the seams so the cloth would lay down. It's really, I mean, it's a part that will be seen, but it's not really a cosmetic part, so it'll be solar panels and lights and name boards and all that chalks for dinghy, all that kind of crap up there. So I glassed the whole hard top, starting at the very back and working my way forward. The first piece went really well. I was able to walk around the entire perimeter on the side decks of the cockpit. And then it was a fairly warm day, and I tried to lay the second piece of glass, which is 50 inches wide and just a little over 8 feet long. And I had a problem with the epoxy kicking off way too fast. And I'll stick a picture up here of the screw up in the aftermath of that, and that set me back 2 days. Anyways, I was just disappointed. I hate wasting materials, but it is what it is. So once we got the issues with the temperatures and epoxy worked out, we completely glassed the whole top. And so that left us with, oh yeah, what did we do next? Sanding, lots of sanding. Luckily, there wasn't much fiberglass in it. I was just sanding off the epoxy top coat and getting it flat and sanding out the bugs that landed in it overnight, all that kind of crap. So anyways, I love sanding, as you can tell. I'll put a picture up here, show you how much I love it. I just love it, love it, love it. Anyways, the next step in the process was going around the perimeter and cutting off the death blades that were hanging over the sides. And those of you that build fiberglass boat know about death blades and death daggers and death needles and fiber fangs and all that other stuff. So there's a picture up here again, what I was talking about. Now, my whole process for this boat, which is a stitch and glue design, was never really meant to have much of an internal structure to it, but I've sort of beefed that up right from the get-go, right from the keel up has been overbuilt on this boat. I know that's going to be a bit of a penalty in weight, but I mean, this is not a speedboat. 6.5, maybe 7 knots wide open as fast as this thing will ever go. So, although I have seen a TW28 with a huge motor and trim tabs, it does get up on plane, but this design was never really meant for that kind of boat. So I went around and Lori and I filleted all of the cabin sides to the cabin top joints and all of the cross frames, and we taped that with our standard 4-inch 12-ounce biaxial tape. And we had a little production line going here, and that worked really well for us. We had that job knocked out in probably less than 2 hours. So I know it's massive overkill, and Tony from, I think he's from Brazil, pointed that out, that when he built his Devlin design, he just relied on the glue. And sure enough, the epoxy glue is probably more than strong enough to hold this whole thing together. Like, I didn't tape the cabin sides to the frames or anything, but the cabin top, I was a little more concerned about, so I taped it. But the more I do, the stronger the boat gets. So anyways, that was done. I think it took me better part of 3 hours to sand the whole top, the flight deck I call it, because it's 16.5 feet long, 8 feet wide. Anyways, it's a fairly large surface. It took me about 2 hours and 3 sanding discs to go through that. Once that was done, I turned myself to the forward windscreen, bulkhead, whatever you want to call it, the frame, the window frames area, and that needed to be filleted and tabbed in, and I did that. That was fairly easy. There's 3 big holes in it, so it's not a lot of real estate to cover. And again, it was the same 4-inch tape. And I wanted to get that done so that I could start adding the insulation, the 1-inch foam insulation with the Mylar reflective stuff on it. And I don't know if you can make it out, but I'll throw a picture up. But around all of the windows and the doors was all insulated now. And that will allow us to, fairly early next spring, begin to install the cherry veneer plywood wall panels that you've seen us make earlier this year. And there's 6 large ones to go in there, and then all of around the window frames again is all going to have to be custom cut and fitted and finished and all that other kind of stuff. Excuse me, it's very early in the morning, and I'm not properly caffeinated yet. Anyways, once the epoxy work came to an end, which the tabbing of the forward end of the boat was done, I had to do a massive clean out, and I cleaned out absolutely the entire main cabin, piled everything in the cockpit, thought about it, tripped over it all, totally disorganized, blah, blah, blah. And I cleaned out the cockpit too, and I got that all organized, moved the shelves and everything down below. I'll stick a picture up. And then I had more freedom to move and more workspace. And one of the things that we really need to nail down now, before we start to put saw to wood and glue and nails and all of that kind of stuff, is figure out what the layout's going to be for the interior of the cabin. And I don't know, as you can see, I'm sitting in one of the helm chairs, the captain's seat. I'm not a captain, I'm a skipper. I work for a living. Anyways, so the port side will have a dinette convertible to a bed, exactly the same size as the one in our RV. And we've laid the lines out on the floor for the footprint for that. And it takes up a fair, I'd say a third of the cabin space goes to it, but when you build the furniture, you build in the utility to have storage and convertibility to a bed and all that other kind of stuff. So the starboard side of the cabin is going to hold the galley, and one of the reasons, excuse me, coffee. Another one of the reasons that we stretched the boat was not only to accommodate the twin helm chairs, port and starboard, but also having a full galley in the main cabin. The original design is for a small galley down below on the starboard side, opposite the head. And we really want that for storage and workspace and all that other kind of things between this bulkhead and the V-berth. And I think that's going to work out well, although the galley's going to be very tight. We had a double sink already bought for it, but it's too wide, so we had to go, and we're looking at a stainless steel sink that can mount from underneath and has sliding racks and all that stuff, and it's about 5 inches shorter than the double sink, so we're going to go with that. So we're kind of finalizing the details on that. I need to make a measured drawing of that. I might do it in SketchUp, do the basic layout. It'll be very simple, but it will have the essential dimensions on it. The next thing I've got to do is pull the deck boards up here and begin looking at the routes for conduit and wiring for all of the sensors on the boat. Now there's a chase tube that runs below the deck on the starboard side for anything that's in the cockpit, and most of the electrical equipment will be on the port side. So I'm going to put in a wire loom to carry all of that. Eventually, most of the wiring is going to end up behind me. The electrical panel will be behind this bulkhead, and so once I figure out the routes for all of that, I'll begin to pull the wires. I'll start with the sensors, because there's black and gray water tank. It'll have sensors. There's 2 water tanks, both with sensors, and the 2 fuel tanks with sensors. And then I'll move on, once I get those laid out, run in the looms to the helm station, where they'll be connected to not a bus bar, but pass-through connector block. Then I can start to do the other things, mount and locate all of the bilge pumps and run the wiring for that. We have a good idea where the batteries are going, and they're going in front of the hot water heater, just behind where the camera is, just below the main entrance to the main cabin. The inverter will be under the seat here. The air conditioner will be under the seat here. And so those are the major pieces of equipment. So yeah, that's going to come along. I have most of the wire, if not all the wire that I need. So I bought it years and years ago. So that's pretty much where we are at this point in time. It's getting cold. I have to rely on a heater to get the chill off in the morning, but that's not a big deal. I also have my little Buddy heater. So I'll stick a picture up of Buddy. He's a good guy. I've got to start milling up some lumber to build the framing for the furnitures. I want to concentrate on the helm console, because that's where a lot of the wiring will go, is into the helm console. I've had to pull out a lot of the pieces of electrical equipment, etc., that will go in here to finalize their locations. And the one I worked on yesterday was our diesel heater, which will probably go on the port side, under the port side helm seat, so that the ducting can be kept short. The diesel fuel tank's right there, tap into the lines. It's not a big deal. It should be a fairly easy install. There'll be vents into the main cabin, into the head, and into the forward V-berth. So that's pretty much where we are there. And I started to put together a year-end recap of what we've done over the entire year, and that'll be a video that'll probably be out in a couple of weeks, maybe 3 weeks, and that will take you right from where we started. I think it was in March, and everything that Lori and I were able to get done throughout this building season. So we've had a good part of March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October. So we're about 7 months, which is usually we're around 6 is what we average. But hopefully the weather will cooperate this winter, and we'll be able to get a bit more done. There's not too much that I can do in the house, but if I can keep this place warm enough, I can come out here and putt around and get things going. So yeah, that's about it. Lori and I would like to give heartfelt congratulations to 2 launchings recently. The first one was Tony on SV Tapachia, who spent years building a junk rig dory designed by Jay Benford in his backyard. And this guy poured his heart and soul into this boat, and he's out there reaping the benefits of his labors. Congratulations, Tony. Extremely well done. The next launching, which just happened yesterday, was MV Brewpeg. Most of you will be familiar with Damien and Jess on MV Brewpeg, and this was a sunken fishing trawler that was salvaged more than 10 years ago, and they've rehabilitated it over the last 10 years into a global cruising expedition boat, and they plan to go into some of the most remote, rough places around the world because they got some guts, and we'll see. But anyway, she's in the water. They've got a punch list to go through to get her ready to move under her own power. They're going to drop the engine down and realign it, all that other good stuff, and work out some of their power system issues, and away they'll go. So another heartfelt congratulations to Damien and Jess and Baby Cat and the entire team that's worked on Brewpeg over the last 10 years. Well done, well deserved, congratulations, and we're envious. So that's it for me for now. I hope that's brought you up to date. We'll stick a few pictures in here, and yeah, there you have it. So cheers, everybody. Take care. We hope you're well. Look after your families. And if you're not building a boat, consider building a boat, but think about it very seriously. Take care. Bye.